And what of the Archbishop's movements?
She has established herself in Camulus, a town south of Ferdiad, and shows no indication of leaving. The Knights of Ceres occasionally go to the front, but the Archbishop appears content to remain behind. A shame, really.
Well, we expected as much. It's unlikely that we'll have the opportunity to eliminate her without mounting a full-scale invasion of Blaidd territory.
We should have surrounded Garrick Mach and torn the place apart when we had the chance, no matter the cost to us. We may have squandered our greatest chance by not doing so.
Hubert, that idea came from Lord Arundel. That is to say, Tallis. And it's an impractical idea, at that. One based on unreliable experimental assets that had never been tested in battle. Besides, after breaking ties with him and his allies, we lacked the military capability to carry out an operation on such a scale.
True on both counts, Your Majesty. We took such bold steps to excise those who slither in the dark from the Empire, knowing full well the price we'd pay. Though it meant allowing the Archbishop to escape our grasp, I would venture to say that we ultimately came out in a better position because of it.
Unquestionably so. I'm certain Tallis and his ilk are dreaming up some villainy as we speak. But we're not beholden to them anymore. We are no longer complicit in their schemes.
I could not care less what I am or am not complicit in, Lady Edelgard. But I agree, you must not be. For your own sake and the sake of the Empire, it is vital that you remain unsullied and unencumbered.
When I proposed such drastic changes to our plan 2 years ago, I did so against your best counsel. And yet you made it work every step of the way. None of us would be where we are today if not for you, Hubert. I cannot thank you enough.
This is quite unlike you, Your Majesty. Are you feeling unwell? I assure you I feel ever appreciated. There is no need for you to speak such words aloud. Or perhaps this is meant to soften the blow of yet another drastic change of course?
Nothing like that, I assure you. I simply want you to know how much you are valued. This path I walk, I cannot walk it without you. I'm only able to press onward because I have you to open the way. There will always be a place for you by my side.
Are you certain there are no changes you wish to inform me of? I must insist that you hide nothing from me.
What? But I just said I'm not... Hubert, are you truly so incapable of accepting a simple word of thanks? Ah, Ferdinand. I hadn't realized you'd returned to the palace.
Yes, here I am. Not that I have official business like you.
Then why come such a long way? Ah, I see. You're here to visit your father.
I am ashamed to say this was my first time seeing him in his cell. My father insisted I stay away for my own safety. Though I must confess, the dungeon was not the horrid place I had imagined it to be. I was envisioning, you know, fiery hot pokers, spikes, that manner of thing.
Oh. Then it may interest you to know that we do actually have such a dungeon. I've only seen it once myself. It's further down from where we're keeping the former Duke. It's a dismal place, one where rats scurry to and fro.
Rats? I do not imagine Father would cope well with that at all. While he did look haggard, it sounds as though his treatment could be far, far worse.
We're doing our best to keep him in good health. The rest will depend on his frame of mind.
Well, you will hear no complaints from me. I care only that he is kept alive and given a fair trial, and that his punishment fits the crime, of course.
You'd better speed things along then, because Hubert is quickly losing patience.
A fact of which I am very well aware. The problem is that I remain unable to connect my father to many of the acts he is accused of.
Perhaps you're wasting your time. A noble as powerful as your father could easily have documents forged and witnesses bought off. Any records that remain will be considered far too dubious to prove guilt or innocence.
Another fact I am very much aware of. In truth, I already found proof some time ago. Proof of his corruption, that is. I discovered it while looking through his tax records. When I realized what he had done, I was ready to serve him up to the authorities myself.
Your own father? I'm surprised to hear you say that.
I mean it. I thought I could carefully build a solid case against him while studying at the academy. However, you had him clapped in irons before I could have my case organized. Now there is a bit of comedy. I idolized my father ever since I was a child. Yet I had to push those feelings aside in order to muster the anger to punish him. Now I find myself trapped between both of those emotions with no resolution in sight.
I see. And tell me, is that the end of your story? I thought you were going to become Prime Minister, keep me in line, surpass me even.
Oh, well, I did not mean...
You can still share words with your father and see him punished for his crimes, you know. So, if you desire resolution, start resolving matters. It's never too late. It seems I'm alone. Are you here, little one? Aw, were you waiting for me? You're a good kitty, aren't you? Guess who brought you some fish? Hey, easy there, no need to wolf it down. Oh, you want more? Well, just stay put while I...
Edelgard? Oh, fascinating. I never imagined I'd run into you in a place like this.
Linhardt, this is a surprise. What are you even doing here?
I was having a nap over there. Such is the price for pulling so many all-nighters, though I pay it gladly.
Over there, as in, right over there? Immediately so? Does that mean you saw... Ow!
Well, well. A cat. Does it live here?
How should I know? I've certainly never seen it before this very moment.
Really? Because it seems quite used to you.
Yes, Oh, come out with it already. If you have something to say, just speak and stop this interminable dance.
No, no. In fact, I like cats as well. Especially ones that live near people.
You, a cat person. I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Why not? I find them charming. You have to admire the way they draw people in with their cuteness only to be waited on hand and foot.
Linhardt, people don't take care of cats just because they're cute. Cats rid us of rodents and other vermin. They are fine pets who bring much solace to their owners. As I see it, people and cats have a good relationship because we do things for each other.
Well, I wonder how the cats see it. Because it appears to me that they're just doing things their way and don't really care about anyone else. Now there's a charmed existence. Live as selfishly as you like and have people lavish you with praise and affection for it. Not to mention they'll never run out of food.
Which just shows how much people value them. What does it matter if they're being selfish? To be honest, I'm surprised you have an opinion about cats at all. Have you owned one previously? Because I could use your advice if so.
Please, do I look like the sort of person to take on that kind of responsibility?
You do not, hence my surprise.
Ah, wait, now I get it. I was wondering why you were being so cross with me. You're thinking about keeping this cat. But the implication that cats and I both want to lead the same easy life spoils the idea for you.
What? I mean... Yes, that's it. You've caught me. Linhardt, listen. If you aspire to be a pet, that is your decision and yours alone. However, if you expect people to bend over backward for you, the least you can do is work for it. The problem with you is that you always...
Please, Your Majesty, let's not do this now. Look, the kitty cat wants you to snuggle-wuggle.
Wait, what?
Bernadetta, is that a letter from your mother?
Huh? Oh, Lady Edelgard! Yes, she wrote me from the capital. Wait, how did you know that? Are you screening my mail? Spying on my correspondence?
Bernadetta, is there anyone else who would write you?
Of course there is! There's, that guy? Wait, I don't have any friends. I don't even have any family. I don't have anybody. Poor Bernie's all alone in this cold, cruel world.
Easy, Bernadetta. You have plenty of friends. They simply don't need to write to you because you're fighting in the same army.
Wait, really? Well, that's a relief.
Also, how can you claim to have no family when your mother writes you regularly? That's certainly more than I can say.
Oh, right. I forgot about your, parent situation. Guess I shouldn't be complaining, huh?
It's fine. Just be thankful that your mother is in good health. And make sure to write back so she doesn't worry.
I always do. Pages and pages.
That reminds me, have you heard from your father? I'm sure he had much adjusting to do after I installed him in Garreg Mach as the head of the Southern Church.
Nothing from him, but my mother keeps me up to date in her letters. She has his attendance and her regular reports. The last update was something like, "Your father is so scared of the Central Church's assassins, he's locked himself away up in the third-story reception hall. They have to drag him out kicking and screaming whenever it's time to deal with clerical affairs."
I'm certain I heard a similar tale when another noble first relocated to Garreg Mach.
Really? Huh. Oh, but the locking himself in his room part sure sounds a lot like me, doesn't it?
Yes, although you've come a long way from the reclusive, shy girl you used to be. Back at the Officers' Academy, you used to take your shunning of people to something of an extreme.
Do you really think I'm that different now? It's hard for me to tell. Maybe knowing that my father has started hiding from the world helps, though. Now I don't have to stay inside to avoid seeing him, you know?
One might say your curse has been lifted. Just like mine.
Wait, hang on. What's your curse?
Nothing. Please ignore what I said.
Oh, come on! You can't leave me in suspense like this!
Ah, what a lovely breeze. Truly, there is nothing so liberating as the great outdoors.
Your Majesty, Hubert is looking for you. My apologies. I didn't realize you were resting.
I only stepped out for a bit of fresh air. I'll be ready to return shortly.
Oh no! Please don't rush back on my account. I am more than happy to keep Hubert occupied in the meantime. Please, Your Majesty, enjoy yourself. I'll simply tell him I failed to find you. Ah, and are you cold? I can bring you a coat and some hot tea.
I appreciate the concern, Monica, but I'm quite all right. But while you're here, there is something I must tell you.
Why are you staring at me, Your Majesty? Is there something on my face?
I was only going to say how fortunate we are to have you with us. Those who slither in the dark had you in their clutches. In another world, we might have lost you to them forever.
Yes. It seemed they were only keeping me alive so they could use me for some kind of dark ritual. And I can only assume that would not have ended with me alive and well. You saved my life. I wish I could express what an honor it was to be personally rescued by the woman I've dedicated my entire life to.
That's kind of you to say, but I only did it because I needed the military leverage.
That doesn't matter. I'm serious when I say that the day you rescued me was the day I stopped simply idolizing you and decided you were the one for me.
The one for you?
Yes, you risked your life to protect a lowly noble like me.
You need to understand the situation, Monica. I was fully prepared to sacrifice you if doing so would bring me even one step closer to achieving my goals. I had no intention of rescuing you until right before the opportunity presented itself.
Oh, but, why not?
I was under the impression that those who slither in the dark needed you quite badly. And as I required their strength to wage my war, I was prepared to look the other way. When we laid out our plans, your death was something we took as a given.
All the same, you still chose to save me in the end. I don't care how you got to that decision, only that you did. You could have offered me up as a bargaining chip, but you chose not to. Instead, you closed that door just so I could be standing here today.
Monica, I
only get one life, and I can't tell you how lucky I am to share it with you. It is my destiny to walk beside you, and that makes me happier than you could ever know.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Now here's a rare sight. Since when do you read tactics manuals? Do you miss your days at the Officers' Academy?
There's nothing to miss.
No, because I seem to recall everyone being in awe of their incredibly talented combat professor. I had big plans for you after you were assigned to us, but then the Academy was forced to close its doors. Still, you played a small but critical role. Still not one for conversation, I see. Even so, I feel I understand you and your thoughts more now than when we first met. You see, that silence of yours just said, I don't need you to know me. Such a typical Emil thing to say.
Don't call me that.
Why? Because Emil von Bartels is dead? Because he was already hunted down and killed for slaughtering everyone in his house?
He should have been.
Is that so? Well, I disagree. This is why you live on as Yaritza von Hrim, and why you remain in good standing with a house that will one day be yours. This is why the world has the Death Knight. For my goals to be achieved, both men are indispensable.
You're greedy to desire that monster's power. His thirst is endless. Every soul he takes makes him less human.
If so, I'd say the Death Knight is the greedy one. I must watch my step, lest he and his scythe come for me in the night.
You are my master, for now. You let the Death Knight hunt. I am grateful. Your life is safe.
There's nothing to be grateful for. This is, and has always been, a contract that sees to both our needs. It just so happens I like having you, and the Death Knight, in my corner.
So when it comes to President, that is the situation. Yes, I see.
Burning the midnight oil, are we? Such zeal.
Ah, Hubert! What are you doing here at this hour? Up to your usual intrigues behind Edelgard's back?
I would thank you not to make such blind and rude assumptions when you lack any basis for them.
Well, yes. I suppose I was making assumptions. You have my apologies.
Not at all. I am, in truth, up to my usual intrigues, so your amends are quite unnecessary.
Oh, all right then. Hold a moment. You were?
In any event, what are you reading with such vigorous intent?
Listen to me, Hubert.
A book of past judicial precedent, is it? Ah, and specifically concerning the prosecution of nobles.
Yes. I have a mind to settle matters with my father. The letter of the law considers rebellion a capital crime, but practically speaking, that is not the case. Members of the nobility are especially likely to be granted clemency, and all the more so in recent years.
Yes, they expiate their guilt by surrendering peerage, providing assets and information, and leaning on the strength of their past meritorious deeds. In short, the nobility make full use of every excuse available to hold tight to their miserable lives. One could pluck off their arms and legs and leave them to fester in the dankest of prisons, and they would still come wriggling back to the surface. So long as they are permitted to live, that is.
Like with the former Marquis Vestra?
That one did not serve his emperor properly, and acted in a manner easily construed as treasonous. This is incontrovertible fact.
Go on.
Sadly, he resisted arrest and lost his life in the unfortunate incident that ensued. His guilt, or innocence, on the matter of treason will remain forever shrouded in mystery.
That sounds like a careful bit of sophistry to me. It appears to anyone with half a mind that you thought him guilty and had him executed. As a noble, he should have been judged in public, as is right and proper, no?
So long as they are permitted to live, the noble creature struggles desperately to continue doing so. Such is ever their nature.
Which is precisely why I am investigating precedent. In order to block any means by which my father could escape justice. I will not allow him to stage a comeback. I will see my father properly judged for his crimes.
But could you, if matters came to that? I wonder.
It is not a question of can or cannot. The man will be dealt with, and by my hand. I could never forgive myself otherwise. Not as the inheritor of the title of Duke Eyre, nor as the one to succeed him as Prime Minister.
It is for Her Majesty to decide such things. However, if it proves to be in Her Majesty's interest, I suspect this resolve of yours will be most welcome. Another clear victory for the Empire in battle. You can surely guess who stole the show yet again.
Our mercenary friend? Always a force upon the battlefield, that one.
Their approach on the battlefield is exceptional, yet their curious power has also proved quite the boon.
It is deeply fascinating, isn't it? Something beyond the principles of magic, and yet different from the power of crests. I might go so far as to say it veers close to the realm of dark magic, but I fear that's beyond my expertise.
I am possessed of some small knowledge, yet still fail to understand the nature of that power.
Then at present we can do nothing but throw our hands to the sky. And with that, I must be off.
Oh? I thought you would be more curious about our mercenary ally. Will you truly raise the white flag merely because the matter lies outside your usual ken?
What are you playing at, Hubert? If you want me to investigate a specimen, go ahead. Hook it and reel it in.
Aha, but you are the better angler of the two of us. Furthermore, my method of hooking would complicate our relationship with so valued an ally. An inducement from your lips would ensure things proceed more smoothly.
Well, this is becoming a hassle. Can't you push yourself to learn some new hooking strategies? Like, I don't know, one befitting the elegance of a true nobleman? Involving fancy tea, perhaps?
A positively hair-raising notion. Please, do not speak it aloud again.
Then maybe get in their face and pick a fight with them. You two could end up becoming fast friends.
So you wish me to shout myself hoarse and swing my fists about like a common ruffian? I shall pretend I did not hear that suggestion.
No? Then the only option left is aggressive persuasion, driven home at the point of an axe, let's say.
Linhardt, who in the world are you talking about right now? I should think there is no one quite so barbarous in our own army.
Oh, I didn't have anyone particular in mind. I was just brainstorming new methods to ensnare our illustrious mercenary friend. Why? Did they remind you of acquaintances of ours?
In any event, let us leave this sleeping dog where it lies. I do not dislike conversing with you, but we seem to procure results of little benefit when we do. And with that, I have matters to attend to and must be off. Farewell.
Until next time, Hubert. So when can I expect you to have reeled in our mercenary friend? I suspect we'd make headway on the research if we engaged in it together.
I'm afraid I've not the time to play along with your capricious whims, Linhardt. I will, of course, be cheering you on with some enthusiasm from the shadows as you hook the subject yourself.
Lord Hubert, we've located what appears to be an enemy scouting party in the forest near our base.
This is certainly a matter of concern. We will need to make immediate preparations to...
But the one who located them was... Caspar.
Ah, I see. Then what of our casualties? Also, did we manage to capture any of the enemy?
We've 3 lightly wounded, including Caspar. And I fear none were taken alive.
I suppose such things are wont to occur when charging headlong into the fray.
Hey, Hubert! Did you hear how I cleared out a few enemy spies?
I did indeed. And on top of getting several people injured, you failed to capture any of said spies. Had you first called for reinforcements before leaping into action, that could have been avoided.
And what if they'd gotten away while we waited? Also, didn't you say it was fine when my old man did the same thing before?
Reinforcements would be nothing but a hindrance to Count Burgley's. If he could not handle something himself, additional soldiers would do nothing more. Besides, he would not have suffered even the slightest injury in the process.
Hey, I'm barely scratched. Ah, forget it. I'll win your respect next time for sure.
Why do you ever insist on hurling yourself into danger at every opportunity? Clearly, some of the reason lies in your desire for military accolades, and yet, let us take this most recent incident, for example. Had you summoned reinforcements, you would likely have received more plaudits for it. The capture of an enemy spy would have been a nice feather in your cap, as would coming home with fewer injured comrades.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. All I can say is that my gut told me to attack and I listened. And it wasn't a terrible result, so what's the problem?
The problem is whether or not your gut continues to avail you. If this instinct of yours is wrong, even a single time, you will find a mound of dirt over your head.
Don't talk like that, Hubert. I might be aggressive, but I'm not angling to end up dead.
Your untimely demise would make trouble for me as well. Why, just think of the critical military manpower I would be sacrificing. Yet, at the same time, you and your gut mucking up carefully laid plans is cause for no less chagrin.
Ah, you think too much, you know that? I mean, if you want to make a name for yourself on the battlefield, you kinda have to accept the risk of death. I made the choice to distinguish myself in war in spite of that. But hey, you know what? If you think I'm gonna kick the bucket, go ahead and work that into your plans. Look, I know I'm your critical military manpower or whatever it was you said, but sometimes you've got to win whether you have that manpower or not. Like I said, I'm not aiming to get myself killed, but I also know there are no guarantees in battle. Anyway, I figure that's got to be the best way to make sure I don't end up being a burden for you. Oh, it's time for training. Gotta run, Hubert.
Placing your fate into my hands, are you? They say it is a fine line that separates the saint from the buffoon. How right they are. Ah, Bernadetta. I see the documents I was waiting for have finally arrived.
Hubert! I'm not doing anything bad!
Then would you be so kind as to hand those over? They are addressed to me, after all.
Oh, right. Edelgard asked me to bring them. Phew, that was heavy. What are all these documents anyway?
Old records of bandit activity in this area that I need for my investigation.
Hey, that reminds me. I heard we had a group of bandits cornered, but they sort of got away.
Yes, a most vexing development. It beggars belief that our troops prove unable to exterminate even these few stray vermin.
Wait, are you angry?
Oh, I doubt it is worth raising my ire over.
That's good. But you look like you're angry.
Bernadetta, are you aware of how your persistence often leads to the very outcome you wish to avoid?
Yes?
In any event, my mood is what it is because I must now locate a den of rats. I will need to research previous stomping grounds, then cross-reference the location of their old lairs in order to work out where this new one might be.
Wow, that sounds like a ton of work.
Yes, but there is nothing for it. These craven rats will not re-emerge once they've burrowed into their nests.
Hey, neat! I definitely understand the desire to burrow in somewhere and never come out. But when there are festivals and stuff, they might slip up and leave? Maybe? Possibly? Everyone loves festivals, except when there are people around, which is usually the case.
Somehow I suspect you would not emerge for even the most magnificent of carnivals. However, you and the rats may differ on that point.
We do what now?
Yes, of course. Unlike you, these thieves have no particular desire to live away from others. We have had them on the run for some time, which means they've not been able to earn coin through their usual underhanded work. Thus, if I were to prepare a place where they could cut a few easy purses, they might consider the spoils to be worth the risk.
Okay.
And the bait shall be a festival. Due to the war, we have not held a genuine festival for quite some time, after all. So even if we do not capture the rodents, and it merely brings much-needed succor to the people, I would still consider it a success. Well done, Bernadetta. You have come up with a splendid idea that eluded even myself.
Why are you complimenting me out of nowhere? Are you plotting against me?
Not particularly, no. Although I am thinking I will require your assistance in this matter from now on.
No! Someone free poor Bernie from this torment! I wonder when I'll be able to return to Enbar.
Greetings, Dorothea. I hope I'm not intruding.
Oh, you're fine. I was just having myself a little think. So, what do you need?
I come with a matter involving the opera company of which you were once a member.
What's wrong? What happened?
Nothing drastic, I assure you. A letter addressed to you arrived, and finding myself with a moment to spare, I decided to deliver it personally. And as I was also hoping to speak with you about the company, the trip serves a dual purpose.
Okay, don't scare me like that, Hubert. I figured something awful had happened since you were coming here in person.
My apologies. Let your heart be at ease. Now then, I wish to discuss the matter of your return to the opera company.
I'm pretty sure I said I wasn't going back.
That is not what I refer to. Well, it is and it isn't. You have no love of violence, and in fact care little enough for it that the mere sight of someone in pain nearly rends your poor heart in two. Further, I am aware that you received numerous invitations to return to the company. Despite that, you continue to remain here on the front lines of the war. I find this choice curious.
Okay, that's a fair point. I honestly have given some thought about returning to the company. Touring across the land with them and using music to heal weary hearts sounds wonderful. And if I did make that choice, it would be a different way to help Edelgard and everyone else. You agree, right?
Indeed. I should think it terribly useful work.
But even so, I can't abandon the actual fight when all of you are still here. The thought of being safe and sound while my friends risk their lives isn't something I'm comfortable with. Does that make sense?
It does. And I even share your feelings to a degree. However, we could always summon your opera company to the front so that you could use your diva talents to motivate our troops. Surely you have considered this possibility?
You really see through everything, Hubie. It's vexing. But fine, there's another reason. I want to support Adi as a commoner. If I were here in the position of an opera diva, I wouldn't be treated like one anymore. I want to be here fighting as a representative of the peasant class. However selfish it might be, I feel this is the best way to help Adi as she tries to erase the gap between nobles and commoners.
Well, this is a surprise. You choose the path of hardship for the sake of your emperor. Truly, I have undersold your resolve.
Oh, but there is one more reason.
Still more.
There are quite a few young nobles here. Dependable ones with quality futures ahead of them. And they're a lot more attractive than the doormats who flutter about us divas in the capital.
Yes, that does seem important. You are stronger than I gave you credit for, Dorothea. And you have earned my respect this day. Ah, Petra. Fancy running into you here. How are you acclimating to life in Her Majesty's army? We are constantly traveling all across Fodlan, so I'm sure there is a lot to adjust to.
I find myself being cold often, but the others have shown great kindness in telling me what to expect. I have no troubles.
Marvelous. I want nothing more than for you to fit in and feel comfortable. Know that there is a permanent place for you in this army, if you so desire.
No. I will be returning to Bridget when the war is finished. I am going to be queen. That day is approaching with quickness.
Yes, I am very much aware. And upon your coronation, Bridget will be released from its vassalage to the Empire. Her Majesty and your grandfather have agreed to this in secret.
For having consideration of Bridget's interests, I give Lady Edelgard and Duke Gert my gratitude.
As I understand it, the Minister of Foreign Affairs pursued this particular policy most vigorously. He has met with far more success, now that Lord Arundel is no longer around to impede him. I might even go so far as to say the Duke looks like a new man.
A new man? No, he's still being the same man.
Well, yes. I suppose you have me there. Regardless, I do hope that you can forgive us. Though we would very much like to make our agreement with Brigid public, doing so now would be most unwise.
I have understanding. The war of 7 years ago still has freshness in the minds of many. You do not want to give them cause for anger when this war has not reached its finish yet.
I'm glad you appreciate the situation, as I was certain you would.
But all in Brigid have knowledge of our agreement. Every man, woman, and child. If it is broken, they will have knowledge of that as well. Blood would be spilling.
Petra! Was that a threat?
Not a threat, a concern. I know I can place trust in the word of the Empire. The Emperor would never be breaking a promise. Would she, Hubert?
What? I beg your pardon, Queen Petra. Clearly I failed to realize that you had already ascended the throne. Rest assured, our promise will be kept. If Her Majesty and yourself are any example, the Empire and Brigid will support each other and walk into the future side by side.
And I have certainty that you will be there, witnessing it.
Oh, there you are, Hubert. I have been searching everywhere for you.
And to what end? Has Her Majesty summoned me?
Oh, she would never use me for a task like that. I just wanted to thank you, albeit reluctantly.
I do not recall having done anything that would merit such a sincere display of gratitude.
Well, you probably just saw it as part of your normal administrative duties. You fixed quite a big mistake in my last report before Her Majesty had the chance to look at it. I woke up in a panic when I realized what I had done. Imagine how mortified I was to see you'd already corrected everything.
Ah, yes. I may have done something of the sort. As Her Majesty's loyal servant, it is my duty to pare down the number of unnecessary matters which wander across her desk. I must say, I was surprised to see you make such a foolish and obvious error. Have you truly grown so lax, even as you style yourself the greatest of our Emperor's retainers?
I'm aware of the mistake I made, but I would never dream of calling myself something like that. Well, perhaps I said it once or twice in the heat of the moment, but I never actually meant it. If anyone is Her Majesty's best retainer, it's you. And without House Vestra's say-so, I could never become one of her servants.
At present, I very much doubt you are fit to serve as Her Majesty's servant.
Excuse me?
It is true that I did not make a conscious choice to serve Her Majesty at first. Instead, I simply did it because my father decreed it must be so. But such bounds no longer define our relationship. I do not serve the Emperor. My loyalty is to Lady Edelgard, and her alone. I stand with her in a manner that goes beyond the bounds of ruler and servant. Do you understand this?
I want to be like that with Her Majesty as well. But I am only the child of a baron, so I don't have excuses to linger in the palace all the time. I have to return to my family's estate once I've fulfilled my duties for the day, and I get summoned back to our territory often. I am not like you. I cannot just be at her side unless I have a good reason to be there.
Indeed. Hawk's territory is in the far west of the Empire. I surmise you have had to spend much of your time away from Enbar. Furthermore, you will be a baron one day. Your duties will prevent you from dedicating yourself solely to Her Majesty.
Exactly. Unlike you, I have an entire territory's worth of people to protect. But I still won't give up. Even from afar. No. Precisely because I'll be afar, there will be things I can do to protect Her Majesty. In fact, always being at her side might actually cause you to overlook threats from time to time. I may even serve Her Majesty in a way you never could.
That is a promising thought, Monica.
Yes, that looks right.
Why, hello, Linhart. It is not often I find you drawing outside.
I'm not drawing. I'm simply trying to capture this wyvern's form. See? It's resting on that hill over there.
Ah, an extraordinary sight indeed. Now then, let us see what you have done so far. I must say, it feels as though something is lacking in your work. How can I describe it? Your depiction is almost too accurate. Take these scales, for example. Why, they could have been plucked from the very wyvern itself.
I told you this isn't art. I'm doing it for my research. And when conducting research, it's always best to have precise references. The same is true when dealing with numbers or gathering information.
I see. So you value accuracy above all else.
Right. Honestly, I've never quite understood art anyway. So I'm perfectly content leaving that sort of thing to the true creatives. You know, the quirky ones. People like Bernadetta.
Even so, there may come a day when your work is seen as the craft of a master artisan, when such precision is lauded as the height of aesthetic genius.
What makes you say that?
Oh, merely a passing thought. Perhaps in the distant future, connoisseurs will value accuracy and attention to detail over the magnificent interpretive pieces we hold dear today.
Do you really think that'll happen, though? I doubt people will ever stop appreciating the ancient classics. You certainly have always done so.
Yes, there is no denying that. But I fear my own personal inclinations hold little sway over public opinion. Nobody knows what trends may arise in the decades and centuries to come. So I can indeed envision a future in which accurate depictions are praised just the same as the greats of old. And I encourage you to do the same, my friend.
I don't get it. How are you so optimistic all the time? It's like you're constantly looking toward the future.
I could say quite the same about you. I have always believed you to be rather forward-thinking.
That's not optimism, though. All I'm thinking forward to is the time when I can just sleep the days away. That's why I'm forcing myself to be as active as I can now.
Regrettably, those halcyon days of slumber are still but a distant dream. I have much work for you, both now and further down the road. To begin with, might I ask you to paint my portrait?
For the last time, I'm a researcher, not an artist. Are you sure you want such a faithful depiction?
That is exactly what I want. How else would my yet unborn descendants know the true visage of the great Ferdinand von Eyre? Indeed, I would be proud to submit myself as a subject of your research. Consider it a study in the personification of nobility itself.
Don't get ahead of yourself. I'm fine drawing you, but I don't have the slightest modicum of interest in actually researching you. Though, I do sometimes wonder where you get all that unabashed confidence from.
Well, Bernie, you were nothing but trouble for everybody, yet again.
There you are. I was worried when you failed to appear at mealtime.
I'm fine. All quiet here.
Please do not tell me your hunger was so great that you resorted to eating those plants there. You should be careful. I have heard there is some rather poisonous flora in this area.
Hey, I'm not going to eat poison. What kind of dummy do you think I am? I know exactly which plants are safe and which ones aren't.
It is strange to see you this confident on a topic. But if you are so certain, I think I should give your eye a test. Just to be safe, you understand.
We're doing what now?
Ah, I know. What say we have a little game to see who can collect the most edible plants?
What?
And as an army can never have too much food, this will serve to benefit the others. What a splendid idea.
Oh, why me? Okay, so this one would cause stomach aches, and that one would be really bitter. I think. Oh, I don't know. I've only ever seen it in books. But hey, I'm sure it's fine. I'll also take this one, and this one, and this one. Oh, and that one over. Wait, is that Ferdinand?
Such luster, such size, such a gorgeous crimson. Yes, this looks like a scrumptious leaf indeed. And there are bulbs under this tree. Rich white bulbs with the luster of a precious pearl.
Ah!
Bernadetta! I see. You were frightened by a mouse scampering by and took a bit of a tumble when you fled, yes?
Yeah, and I dropped all my beautiful plants that your dumb game made me don't collect.
Never mind that now. Show me your wound, please. Yes. Just a scrape. Still, we should return to base and treat it before it festers.
Yeah, I suppose. Thanks for looking at it. Wait, that leaf! The one you're carrying!
This one? What of it? If you are hungry, we could snack on it while we walk back.
No! No! That plant has medicinal properties. It's a styptic.
Well, what luck. We can use it to treat your wound. Oh, I must say, your talent for identifying plants is no idle boast.
Yeah, I eyeballed them pretty well, huh? Now let's take a look at yours and... What?
Are you at a loss for words with the quality of the plants I gathered?
Every one of these is poisonous!
What? But the gorgeous leaf, the robust vine!
Death in plant form! Throw them away before we die!
Is something wrong, Ferdinand? You're staring quite intently at those plants while you water them.
I was merely reflecting on something I saw long ago in Enbar.
Oh? What would that be?
In truth, it is nothing noteworthy. Back when I was a child, I saw a water nymph dancing and singing in a fountain along the main street. She was radiant, brilliant in the dewy light of the sun. But as an immature young lad, I grew embarrassed and ran away.
Wait a minute. That sounds familiar.
And you're sure of what you saw? A water nymph?
Absolutely. Her song resonated within me. It was a bucolic tune sung by common folk around the capital. As I recall, she had not been wearing so much as a scrap of clothing. Anyway, once I finally mustered up the courage to return, the nymph had vanished.
Such a tale hardly seems possible.
What? That's the reason Ferdy ran away that day? No way. I've been wrong about him this whole time? I mean, considering how I must have looked in that fountain... Oh no. I can't even begin to face him right now. I have to go back.
Is that Dorothea? I wonder what she's doing over there.
He's seen me. All right, Dorothea, just be calm. It's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. Why, if it isn't Ferdy and Adie, what a coincidence to bump into the two of you here.
Dorothea, your face is red.
Yes, indeed it is. Do you have a fever?
Really? I feel fine, but... Well, I was just coming to check on things, but since it all checks out, I'll be going. Bye.
Wait, you could suddenly take a turn for the worse. So I will escort you back.
No, I'm fine. I'm not going far.
Yet still too far to travel alone. If something were to happen to you, it would already be too late. Come now, take my arm. Or if it please you, I could carry you there.
Enough! I am perfectly fine, so just mind your own business and stay away from me.
No one appreciates obstinance, Ferdinand.
Apologies. Although, given the intensity of her rebuff, I worry she may not have liked me to begin with. Have I committed some grave wrong against her? What should I do? Ah, Petra. Just the lady I have been looking for.
Are you needing something, Ferdinand?
Why, yes, I do need something. Ravishing lady, princess from a foreign land, how sharp and true the swords you hold in your hand. Wilt thou not spar with me? How was that? Did I do it correctly? I want to be certain I understood the Brigid way.
What?
You see, I was perusing a book on your customs the other day. It was there that I came across a description of the proper way in which to make a request of members of the Brigid royal family. Apparently, one is supposed to improvise their need in the form of a song while performing a small jig or rondo. I find it to be a most lovely tradition.
I am not knowing of this tradition.
You do not know it? But I am correct that song and dance are very important in your homeland, yes?
Yes, that is a truth. We are often singing and dancing as tribute to the spirits.
Then it has nothing to do with the royal family?
Ah, now I have understanding. Something has gotten lost inside of the translation. The ruler of Brigid is often asking the spirits for protection. This involves singing and dancing both. The members of the royal family are not witnessing the performance, they are doing the performance. Also, it is for special occasions only. No one bursts into a song with suddenness. That is strange.
Yes, I am discovering that for myself. I was convinced that Brigid must have some manner of odd custom that defies Fodlan convention.
Ferdinand, what land of silliness are you thinking I am from?
What? No, This is all going quite horribly. This is what I deserve for trusting that ridiculous book.
Do not be worrying. Even books of greatness may contain mistakes. I once was reading that all Fodlan nobles are born in wells. Can you be imagining?
That is a ridiculous notion.
And it was even within the title. Fodlan's Nobility, a day in the life of the wellborn.
Petra, wellborn is actually a word. It means one who is born into a noble bloodline.
I am knowing that, Ferdinand. I was having a joke. I am not breaking into songs and dances, but I am breaking out the dictionary when I have the need.
A joke? I must say, this is quite surprising, Petra. You are unearthing my ignorance in spades today. This is twice you have made me dine on dirt in a single conversation.
Unearth? Spades? Dirt! Ah, I am understanding. You are having cleverness.
Well, no, that was merely a coincidence, but I am glad you enjoyed it.
I'm tired. Time to find a good spot for a nap. Bernadetta? Why are you skulking in the weeds?
No reason! Not getting in the way of two people's love at all! No, sir!
Huh? But I'm alone here. I see. That.
Yeah, that! I was out walking when I saw them. A man and a woman together in the woods, getting, heated.
Well, neither of them seems to be dead yet.
They're on a secret date, you dummy! Not fighting!
Regardless, How does two lovers stealing a moment alone lead to you curled up here in the fetal position?
Because I'm hiding! I mean, if I messed up their date, they might try to get revenge on me!
Relax. To them, you're no different than a pebble on the side of the road.
Hey, I'm not a pebble! I mean, sure, sometimes I wish I was just a rock, but...
Then just roll away quietly and you'll be fine.
Just roll away quietly. Hey! Yeah! Wait, no! They'd see me! Stop trying to get me killed!
We've made enough racket over here to raise the dead, and they haven't even noticed. I think it's safe to say they're off in their own little world. Still, good for them, sharing words of love when either one could die tomorrow.
Wait, they could die tomorrow?
They're both soldiers who serve on the front lines. I doubt a rosy future awaits them.
No! That's not true! Couples swearing their love and defying destiny are a staple of classic fiction!
Sure, but the fact it wouldn't happen in reality is what makes it such a good story, right?
Wait, but there are tons of stories where two people who have sworn their love don't ever meet again.
Likely because that's something people are familiar with from their own lives.
Okay, so which is it? I believe those two can be happy together, so they can, right?
I hope that's the case, but reality is cruel. Anyway, I've talked myself right to sleep.
Huh? Come on, don't sleep there! Uh-oh. Guess I'd better try that turn into a pebble and roll away quietly plan.
There you are, Lynn.
Oh, Dorothea. How unusual. I didn't expect to see you in a place like this.
It's not unusual when I've been looking for you literally everywhere. You skipped out on the War Council meeting this morning and Adi was livid.
Yes, something came up that required pulling an all-nighter 2 nights in a row, so I had some sleep debts to repay.
Next time, maybe spare a thought for the person who'll get stuck having to track you down. We discussed important matters in the meeting, you know. There was some kind of accident, and now we're experiencing a delay on supplies.
And now we need to ration our food? It's a pain, but these things happen. In the worst case, we're supposed to be considering ways to forage for food ourselves, right? I suppose I can handle it if we need to fish, but I'll have to pass on tromping through the fields and mountains to harvest wild... whatevers.
Wait, how do you know all this? You weren't even at the meeting, were you?
Because I had someone who attended take notes for me.
Wait, you had someone...
More importantly, you should go to Her Majesty and propose a review of our supply logistics. Considering our current position on the front lines, we should break up the transportation of provisions along multiple routes. It may cost a little more to split things up, but it'll allow us to avoid situations like this. Overall, it should provide many benefits, and the plan will be viable for use in future campaigns too.
Wow.
Dorothea?
This sort of thing really gets your brain going, huh? Still, I wish you'd just go to the meetings and share all of these opinions. People would be thrilled at your resourcefulness, you know.
Oh, I'm quite happy with things the way they are. Attending meetings would only add to my headaches.
You can only run from this for so long, Lynn. And sure, I'll propose what you asked me to, but I'm going to do so in your name.
Wait, are you serious?
Oh, very much so. I couldn't possibly take the credit for something you thought up, right?
I suppose that's fair. I can feel the headaches forming already.
Sand, rain, river? Is he writing of the weather?
Are you all right, Petra? That's quite the noise that just came flying out of your diaphragm.
Linhardt, perhaps you can be helping me. This letter is giving me much difficulty.
A letter, is it? I was under the impression that you had no trouble reading the language of Fodlan.
I also had that thought, but this page is not making sense. Can you be reading it for me?
What? Oh, no, I couldn't. This is a private matter. I mean, I don't even know who it's from.
But I cannot be writing back if I do not know what they are saying. Please, do this favor for me.
Oh, very well. Let me have a look. Goodness, no wonder you struggled with this. It couldn't be more archaic. Right, well, let me give this a shot. Yon world is endless sand, and I but a parched grain err upon its bosom. O beauty, was it the western wind which brought thee hither, merciful rain? Soft, my river o'erfloweth. Petra, is this a love letter?
That is a possibility, but I do not have certainty.
Okay, you definitely should have mentioned that before I started reading this. Well, too late now, I suppose.
Indeed. I am blaming the letter. If no one can have understanding of it, the writer is a waster of paper.
Well, it's not that I don't understand so much as... Look, let me just give this back to you.
You have understanding? You must be teaching me.
Oh, very well. The writer is using archaic speech to express his love for you through metaphor. So much so that I would say they have gone and spoiled the whole thing.
So he has passion? I am pleased, although I have little knowledge of the letter's writer.
Really? From what he's written here, it sounds as if he sees you every day. Also, the letter is absolutely rife with mistakes. Take this passage, for example. I think he mentioned the western wind in an effort to evoke Brigid, but it's actually the southern wind that brings rain. Besides which, the merciful rain is a gift from the goddess. This paramour of yours shouldn't be tossing such sacrilegious comparisons about. And I won't even ask how a grain can be parched, let alone turn into an overflowing river.
The words have richness and color. I wish I could be reading them as well as you.
Trust me, it's nothing special. Well-crafted writing has layers. This just has apostrophes. So, are you planning to write him back?
This has been a most painful lesson of how little I am knowing. I must be reading many books to study the old speech of Fodlan before making my reply.
I sure hope she doesn't plan on writing him back in the same style, or they're going to end up talking right past each other.
And of course, I'm worried about those who struggle at combat.
Yes, we must do all we can to support them. I'll do my part to watch out for those who need help.
Thank you. We'll do this together.
Support people who struggle with combat, huh? If there's a more perfect job for me out there, I don't know what it is. You ready, Bernadetta? Let's go!
No! Why do I have to do this?
Why do you have to train, you mean?
It's not training, it's weird! This is torture and I'm gonna die!
Hey, calm down. You'll only be fighting me.
You're lying! There are people hiding in this armor and they're gonna attack me, aren't they?
That armor isn't big enough for a person to hide in.
You don't know that! I could absolutely hide inside one.
I mean, yeah, okay. You probably could.
See? I was right! Wait, this isn't the time for me to worry about that! The fact you're plotting against me is the issue here! Why do you hate me?
Look, Edelgard said we need to help people who struggle with fighting, all right? I'm just trying to put that into action.
Nah! You're gonna take me out with a surprise attack from the darkness! I know your game!
And how would I attack you from the darkness when we're standing in the middle of the training grounds in broad daylight? You think all these people walking by would see me try to murder you or whatever and just keep going?
No, they're watching me. I'm sure of it. Your armor is staring at me. Nope, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm going home to enjoy a life of freedom without my father.
What? You can't just run out on me here, Bernadetta. I mean, trying to detect people hidden in suits of armor, that's one of my father's traditional training drills. I don't know any other way to do it.
I don't need your lousy support, so just leave me alone!
Maybe I'm not cut out for this kind of thing.
Hey, Caspar. Oh, what's with the mountain of books? Wait, please don't tell me you're planning to use them in your training somehow.
What kind of guy do you think I am? They're books. I'm gonna read them.
Read? A book? You? Did you eat something weird?
Come on, you sound just like Linhardt. I've torn through books before, sometimes even 2 or 3 whole chapters a day.
Please don't use the word torn when it comes to books. You're going to make my heart stop. And books are divided into chapters, not chappers. Oh, Caspar, promise me you won't hurt those books.
You don't have to worry, Dorothea. I realized something the other day. A person who's responsible for troops can't rely on physical strength alone. You probably wouldn't guess it from how my father looks, but he's pretty good about that stuff.
Can't say I'm shocked that the Empire's Minister of Military Affairs has read the occasional book. Speaking of, you may have heard this story before, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Back during the War of the Eagle and Lion, there was an Imperial general named Francis who was quite proud of his strength. But while he was indeed strong, he was unlearned, and so everyone looked down on him.
Why do I feel like this story is gonna make me feel like an idiot?
Just listen. The Emperor at the time gave Francis an order to study, and said that if he didn't, he wouldn't be allowed to lead anyone in battle. Francis did as his Emperor ordered, and studied as though his life depended on it, growing especially talented in the area of tactics and strategy. As a result, his deeds on the battlefield were great, and he eventually rose to the rank of Minister of Military Affairs.
So I should take a page out of Francis's book, right?
So long as you don't mean literally, yes. Incidentally, the words the Emperor used to praise Francis were memorable enough to have survived even to this day. With the passing of 5 sunrises and 5 sunsets, even the meanest soldier may burgeon into a peerless commander. It means if you study hard for 5 days, even a common soldier can become a great general who commands an entire army.
5 days? That's nowhere near enough time. It'd take me 5 days just to read one book. You gotta at least give me until the end of the war.
But by that point, won't your chances to distinguish yourself in battle have already passed?
Oh, you're right. What am I gonna do, Dorothea?
Well, I suppose I have no choice but to help you. Who knows? I might even learn something.
You're the best. Thank you.
And that's the situation. Now put your head down and see it done.
Leave it to me. I can do this blindfolded.
And don't neglect your night training. You'll be a wreck in the morning if you don't put the hours in.
What kind of lazy jerk do you take me for? Of course I'd never skip my training.
Very good. Well, I must be going. It seems you have a visitor anyway, so farewell.
Wait, a visitor? Oh, hey, Petra. Sorry, were you waiting for me? What can I do for you? Everything all right? You don't look so good.
I am well. You have my thanks for your concern.
You sure? I can walk you to the infirmary. I think Professor Manuela is in, actually.
No, I am well. Do not be troubling yourself.
If you say so.
I do. Caspar, I was not realizing that your father was visiting.
Yeah, he dropped by to talk to Edelgard and some of the others. Guy's so busy he hardly stays in any one place for more than a few hours.
I must be remembering that.
Oh, you have some business with him?
No. Not yet.
Hey, sorry, but did you need me for something?
Huh? Oh, Edelgard is needing you. I was coming to tell you. She appeared quite upset. Her composure was almost lost.
Wait, she's mad at me? Oh no, I totally forgot she wanted to see me! Thanks, Petra, you're a lifesaver!
One day, I will be having revenge. Leopold von Bergliez. You will be ruining the day you stole my father's life.
La la, la 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 la.
Is that Lady Dorothea? Oh, it is!
Hello, Monica. Oh, is something wrong?
Well, I was wondering. Are you the same Lady Dorothea who is known as the mystical songstress?
Well, yes, I suppose I am. Did you not know that?
Not at first, though it made perfect sense once I finally realized it. I find it difficult to believe it's really you.
Well, I'm certainly not doing a lot of songstressy things here in the army, so I'm not surprised it took you a bit to put two and two together.
But it should not have taken me this long. You have the same name, and you carry yourself in the same dignified manner as the Lady Dorothea I saw in the capital. I can't believe you're right in front of me. The excitement is so great I can barely stand.
Oh, please, that's all in the past. Now I'm just another one of your allies.
No, you're different. There wasn't a girl in the capital who didn't want to be you. I spent years trying to find a ticket to one of your performances. But when I finally found one, I ended up in a seat where I couldn't see the stage very well. It was so far back, I could barely even make out your face, or the rest of you for that matter. That's likely why I failed to recognize you at first.
Well, I'm certainly pleased you came to see me, and I'm sorry the seat was less than ideal.
Oh, but the costumes and stagecraft were more gorgeous and stirring than I ever could have imagined. Your songs captivated me. They reached out from the center of the stage all the way back to me in my little corner of the opera house. Just thinking about it puts a smile on my face.
You were a more passionate listener than I would have imagined, Monica. Moni? Still with me?
Oh, my apologies, Lady Dorothea. I was sort of carried off by a wave of memories there.
It's fine, but, can we maybe stop with all of the lady stuff? I find it a little unsettling.
Well, all right. Dorothea, you know, I'm somewhat surprised you didn't return to the opera company once the war broke out.
You're not the only one. Adie and I being classmates was a big part of why I stayed, but suffice it to say that a lot happened, and now I'm here.
It's a great honor to fight alongside you, Lady Dorothea.
Maybe I should just return the favor and start calling you Lady Monica.
Well, if it isn't Yuritsa. What are you doing out here all by your lonesome? Come to think of it, you were always at the training grounds when we were at the Officers' Academy, too.
It was quiet there.
You don't say. Personally, I prefer somewhere I can kick back with a nice drink. Speaking of which, we should get one together sometime. I'm sure Hanneman would spare a moment to join us.
I don't drink.
Too bad. I thought it would be a good chance for us to get to know each other. By the way, I've been wondering, why were you always hiding behind that mask? A waste of a perfectly handsome face, if you ask me. I like you much better this way.
It's not worth discussion.
Oh! From what I've heard, you're probably a good few years younger than me. Yet you're so mature. It's like you have this indescribable air of mystery. I bet there's some burning passion lurking beneath that icy exterior, longing for reprieve. I'm right, aren't I? It's in there somewhere, I just know it. Say, let's grab some drinks tonight and do nothing with them, because you don't like to drink. I know. Why don't we go out dancing instead?
I could not reveal my face.
And then, when the sun rises, we can... Oh, what was that about your face? Why you hide it? Why do you hide it?
Some knew me to be a wanted criminal.
I find that hard to believe. Like they say, there are two sides to every story, right? But what made you want to tell me? A moment ago, you blew me off with that broody, none-of-your-business routine.
You would have kept talking if I didn't.
Oh.
Did I say something strange?
Sorry, I wasn't trying to tease. I just think you're cute when you're flustered. You've become quite the ladies' man. Just you wait. I don't give up that easily.
Huh?